The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business. Right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoe Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
We're back again like a bad penny. We keep coming back. It's Steve and Tom. Don't know what that expression means, but my mother-in-law, who was from England, used to say it all the time.
Here's what I know for sure. Our next guest is a doctor, so this will be all you, Tom. So we'll roll all of Tom's elements, the real ones, the fake ones. Doctor, it hurts when I do this.
Right.
So let's go there, Tom. This will be the Tom Diagnose Tom Hour.
Most everything in my is in my head. Yeah. Dr. Mitchell Brodey is with us. He's the president and CEO of Family Care Medical Group. How are you, Doctor?
Fine, thank you.
How does he look to you, Doctor?
Looks okay.
Plump and ready for action. You've been around Syracuse for a while now?
I've been around Syracuse since I moved here in 1980.
Okay. So
First arrived on the shores literally in 1969, actually, to row in the regatta.
Gotcha.
So where are you from originally?
Lawrence, Long Island.
Long
Island.
Downstate.
Okay, and then did you do a residency up here? Why Syracuse?
I wound up here? So I wound up here because I finished my fellowship in infectious disease at University of Wisconsin, and there was a job offer here, and I had some offers downstate. Yeah. And I remember being here for the regatta. We got to stay at the Boys and Girls Building at the State Fair.
Oh yeah.
For several years, once on at the SU campus, and it's a nice place, I thought, and you could ski, and I could sail, and I could run, and I could row, and I could do all these things.
All those great things. So for a lot less money than being in Long Island.
Right. So I decided I'd come up here, and I started at upstate, and then I decided I was going to go into practice, and went up to Community General Hospital and started practice.
Do you remember a doctor named Dr. Stockman?
Dr. Stockman.
Does that name ring a bell?
Sounds like a no, Tom.
He was my pediatrician for
Dr. Stockman.
Yeah.
Nice save, Doctor.
Pediatrician. He was very popular. And
he only had one patient. Yeah. It was Tom.
No. I was trying to figure out what the specialty was.
Right. And when we go back and you talk about how you could have conversations with doctors back then. And I remember being 16 years old, and I had just started into the weightlifting and everything. And I was always pretty animated. And I said, Dr. Stockman, I've been really lifting these weights. I said, how do my legs look? Do they look like, do I have the legs of a runner? And he said, I don't know. Do I have the hands of a surgeon? I remember that line for forever. But anyway, so tell us about your practice. You've kind of grown over the years, huh?
Right, so Family Care Medical Group started almost 30 years ago, started by 13 family docs, and the group has grown now to about 60 physicians and about 50 advanced practice clinicians. Yeah,
be one of the biggest ones around.
Right, for a primary care group, we are the biggest one around.
Yeah.
So we have a few specialists, but it's primarily a primary care group.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that things that, I talk about the changes, you used to be able to talk to doctors and all that. Do you guys get together collectively and actually think about those things, like how we should talk to patients, or is it just all business all the time?
No, it is. We have, regular meetings. We have regular board meetings where we all get together and we have a dinner and we might talk about some educational topics as well as that. Mm-hmm. Plus, we have divided the group into smaller groups and they get together a couple of times. It used to be a couple of times a month. Now it's once a month, and we, kind of work through patient problems. And part of good medical care is the patient experience and trying to improve that and try to improve communication between of doctors and the APPs with the patients, as well as communication with the medical staff and increasing communication with the doctors who work in the hospital.
Sure.
We think that's very important.
So
Communication is very important.
Bedside manner, people I go to my doctor and I've asked people this question, why do you go to that doctor? And they never say like where they graduated from, where they fell in their class, anything. They're like, well, they talk with me and it's totally the other side of the brain, but part of healing is being heard, isn't it?
Yes, I think it's very, very important. Some doctors are better at it than others. We all have our strengths and our weaknesses, but we can also all improve on it as well. And there are things you can do to improve it. And I think everybody's trying to work on that. And I think communication is different than when I started out in practice. I think communication with patients has become increasingly important. People realize how important it is.
How many doctors do you have as opposed to
PAs and the rest?
PAs. And,
It's about 60 doctors and about 50 PAs and NPs.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
And, that's a big thing that I hear, a big concern from people.
Right.
And since I've crested, here I am 60 years old, right? So a lot of the conversations when you get together with people now are about health.
Especially Tom's.
Yes. Well, I am a hypochondriacal Italian guy, so, but seriously, it is a concern that, I can never see my doctor. I always have a PA. I always have an NP, and I don't know that that's anything that's less than, but how do you deal with that? I mean,
great question.
do people question that in your practice?
Some people question it. Again, sometimes it's the relationship. Sometimes the NPs and PAs are better at communicating with people and have more time so they can spend with it. But it's tough getting doctors to begin with. Okay, why that is, I'm not sure. We don't turn out enough through medical school, even though which we could. If I think the country put its mind to it, people make these decisions. But for now, it's very difficult getting people to go into primary care. When people go to medical school, they write these great essays, and they have all these high-minded ideals, but a lot of times those fade. The other thing is it costs the same amount to go to medical school for those people who go into high reimbursement specialties as opposed to low reimbursement specialties. So if you go into it and you look at it as a job, you're going to take the job that makes the most money. If you look at it as a calling and you can afford to do it, you'll go into the thing that you feel will interest you the most, and or you can become, be of the most service.
Are you able to see people on a relatively short notice? Because it seems like there's been a rise of urgent care centers, and every time I talk to someone that ended up at the ER, I hear a horror story of how long they were there, and they're overwhelmed. And so how does that mix? Where's the yin and the yang? And that if someone is, if Tom's got a cold, should he, and he wants to be seen, does it make sense to go to a practice like yours, or should he go to urgent care?
So our theme, our ethos for the whole group, remember we have 23 offices, all the offices, part of the thing we have to offer young physicians is you have their autonomy, so you run the office the way you want. But our theme is trying to get people into the office as quickly as possible, because we don't want them going to the ER, we don't want them getting admitted to the hospital, because it clogs up the ERs, and if you get to the ER, you're more likely to be admitted than if you come to a doctor's office.
Yeah,
Right.
So that's our goal, is to get people, and a lot of times that's why we have the advanced practice practitioners, because their schedules can be a little bit more flexible. Every office runs a difference, but the idea is, as it was taught to me when I started, patients don't want to see you when they're well. They want to see you when they're sick. That's why they have you.
Absolutely.
So you try to make an effort to see them when they're sick. You can always add on that person to do it.
So, Dr. Brodey, quick question. Are you what you eat?
Am I what I eat?
Are we what we eat? You heard that. You are what you eat. Is that really true?
I think it makes a big difference, yes. Okay? I think it makes a big difference, sorry. It's both quantity and quality.
Right.
Especially quantity.
Do you still remain active? Are you still athletic pretty much, or?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I've done at least the equivalent of a 5-mile run every day, barring, medical emergencies or post-surgical procedures when I wasn't allowed, since I was 27 years old.
Yeah.
I'm 70. I'll be 75 in July.
Wow, good
God
for
bless you. Yeah.
So it's basically at least an hour of something.
Well, Family Care Medical Group, fcmg.org. Does that sound right? And they can connect and see what you have to offer. They can see the teams. They can see the physicians. And if they're looking for someone to connect with primary care in some of the specialties, you would be a great option.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for coming in today.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor.